nerds, what's up? So I knew I should want to watch Murderbot. I'm an SFF channel. I read All Systems Red last year and gave it a 4. I should want to, but I just didn't. I think it's because I've been burned recently by some not so good adaptations. And I also felt like the things that I liked about the first novella of Murderbot were things that wouldn't translate super well to screen. I particularly liked Murderbot's inner dialogue, and in my personal experience, voiceovers can be very hit or miss, mostly miss for me. So I just didn't know how they would capture the character's social anxiety and really make it a show that didn't come off super cheesy. Anyway, I finally stopped dragging my feet and watched it, and then it was really good. I absolutely fell in love with the adaptation of Murderbot, so much so that I immediately, after finishing episode 10, put all of the other novellas I hadn't read yet on hold at my library because I wanted more Murderbot immediately. So I'm gonna convince you that you need to start this TV show too. If you haven't read it yet, the Murderbot Diaries is about human-robot hybrids called sec units who are completely controlled by the company and are used for security and perhaps spying. Well, this follows a socially anxious sec unit who has hacked its own governor module, refers to itself as Murderbot, but instead of murdering everyone with its freedom, instead chooses to spend its time watching lots and lots of television. The first thing I noticed about the show is that they actually upped the silliness and humor of the book to the TV show, and I think that was such a good choice, but because by making it just a little sillier and even kind of funnier and goofier, it makes the reliance on voiceover feel appropriate. It's kind of like doing a wink that we know this can be a little cheesy, but we are leaning into it rather than away. And because of that, it really works. One of the best ways they did it was through the depiction of Murderbot's favorite TV show. Obviously, in the novel, we can't really see what that TV show is like, but the show just goes full in on it, and I was absolutely delighted to see how they played the TV show out on screen, and the absurdity of it really set the tone and mood for the entire show. This lighthearted approach was such a refresh, and it was also exactly what I needed to watch right now because it feels good to watch an SFF show that leaves you feeling good. It should also go without saying that the show is absolutely carried by some of its performances. I think Alexander Skarsgård just knocks it out of the park as Murderbot. While the clearly masculine look of Skarsgård may throw off some book readers because in the book, Murderbot is described as completely gender neutral, I think the exchange was worth it because Skarsgård really just nails the kind of lovable but socially awkward robot-human hybrid, and I kept thinking while I was watching the show what a difficult task this was, because obviously why us as the viewers can see all of that voiceover, which is the majority of how Murderbot communicates, obviously while acting, Skarsgård isn't actively hearing the voiceover, so he has to act and show things on his face and really be present about what's going on in the character's head and what is being portrayed on screen. And I don't think that's an easy task. And Skarsgård absolutely nails it. And obviously the show revolves around Murderbot as the main character, so having this strong presence just completely makes the whole thing work. I also want to call out Dr. Mensah as portrayed by Noma Dumezweni, which I hope I didn't butcher that, I'm sorry. She was the other absolute standout to me in the show. I think they use her as a grounding force to the sillier crew members since she mostly plays it completely straight. She has such a gravitas and presence on the screen, and you just really believe that she commands this group and why she would be able to lead the way she does. I actually kind of became obsessed with her. I loved her portrayal on the screen, and I think she completely carried the show with Skarsgård. And as that grounding element to the sillier aspects works very well. The other thing that shocked me about this show was the pacing, because the entire 10-episode first season only covers this tiny 150-page novella, which first of all is most book lovers' dreams. Can you imagine any other book getting the treatment of 10 episodes for 150 pages? But it really works here, particularly because if you didn't know, they're short episodes for a sci-fi adaptation. They clock in at an average of 25 minutes. So they definitely play more to the average kind of funny sitcom length rather than the typical sci-fi adaptation length. And I think it works so well because, again, when you're having that kind of silly nature of a show, I think over 40-minute episodes, you could potentially struggle. And also, maybe this is just a me thing, like, it feels like shows, there's like this creep where sometimes I watch TV shows where every episode is practically a movie length. Like, they're all between an hour and an hour and a half, which... Don't come for me. Like, I know for some shows that is really useful and great, like especially some of our fantasy adaptations that just need a little more time to cook. Like, I get it. I'm totally here for that. But I also think I watch shows that do not justify their runtime, and there's just feels like they're just trying to get to an hour because that's standard. These shows go by so quick. They feel perfectly paced, and because we are taking 10 episodes to get through the 150-page novel, it's really deeply character focused, which was what I liked about All Systems Red. So it really appealed to that part of me personally. It's also just pretty dang close to the novella. Like, I was really surprised because I read it last year. I was like, this seems almost dead on. But then I was like looking it up and kind of like thumbing through, and I was like, no, they pretty much keep it almost directly to the plot of the book. They do add some stuff. Obviously, it's a show. I've already said that they made some character changes, but overall, it not only is a good adaptation, but it's a pretty decently faithful adaptation as well. The show isn't perfect. There are definitely some plot elements that they added that I don't think were necessarily like fleshed out a ton, and there was a couple of performances that just didn't necessarily hit for me, but overall, it was a pretty amazing season of television, and I've literally been trying to convince everyone I know to watch it because I actually think the show has wide appeal. I think this could also capture audiences that don't typically like sci-fi shows or feel like it's not for them, mostly because it is so character focused, and even though there obviously is a ton of sci-fi elements, our main character is a construct that's robot human. I feel like the humor and character focus is a really grounding element to make it widely appealing. I also obviously think it's appealing to SFF fans. Murderbot is a staple. Martha Wells is a staple in the genre, and so I just like that it hits so many good elements. And ultimately, if you just need a feel-good show that when you're done watching it, you just feel happy. And I feel like a lot of us could use that right now. In other words, this show is just premium quality entertainment. I really hope I convinced you to give Murderbot a try, whether you're a fan of the novel or have never even heard of it before. Please let me know if I convinced you. Come back after you've watched it because you'll probably binge it. Doesn't take very long, and tell me what you thought. If you already saw the show, tell me if you liked it as much as I did or if it didn't work for you. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. That is the best way to support me. And if you want to see what I'm currently reading as well as other nerdy rants, you can check me out on Instagram at bookborn.reviews. I'll see you next time. Bye.